guys, welcome back to the DNN Medical Series. This is your girl Nikki, and today we're going to talk about 8 problems that can cause heavy menstrual bleeding. So menstruation is normal. The girl bleeds through her vagina every month or every 28 days. So what can cause heavy or irregular menstrual bleeding? So the first one we're going to talk about is ovulatory dysfunction. So this is basically a term that describes a group of disorder where ovulation fail to occur, or it's infrequent, or it's irregular. So what is basically ovulation? So ovulation is basically when the ovary releases egg 14 days, 12 to 14 days after or before your next period. So this fails to occur, and this can cause you to have heavy menstrual bleedings. The next one is bleeding disorders. So bleeding disorders such as hemophilia or von Willebrand disease, this is when the blood lacks clotting factors. So your blood is not supposed to be so thin. So clotting factors are responsible for this. So when your blood lacks these things, you're just bleeding non-stop. Well, not non-stop, but you're bleeding heavily than normal. So that's another major thing that can cause heavy menstrual period. The next one is basically uterine adenomyosis. So you can see as the pictures are showing here. So this is basically occurs when the tissues that normally lines the uterus, like the endometrial tissues, they grow into the muscular walls of the uterus. So you can see, and it displaces tissues, and they continue to act normally, but they get thickened and they start to break down and they start to bleed during the menstrual cycle. So you get more blood coming down and more thickened tissues coming down, and that is a cause of heavy menstrual period. The next one is PID. So this is basically pelvic inflammatory disease. It's an infection of one or more of your upper reproductive organs, such as your uterus, your fallopian tube, or your ovaries. So you have infection of those things, and these can cause you to have basically heavy menstrual period. The next one is uterine fibroids. So uterine fibroids are usually non-cancerous. So they're non-cancerous growth that appears during your childbearing age. When a woman is in the childbearing age between like 18 years old through menopause, when you're supposed to have a child, if you want to have a child. So your childbearing age from your first period to menopause, you can have uterine fibroids, which are non-cancerous, which means they don't cause cancer majority of the times. And when you have uterine fibroids, you can have heavy menstrual periods. And the next one is uterine polyps. So these are basically little growths that attach to the inner wall of the uterus, and they can extend to the cavity, the uterine cavity, and this overgrowth of cells can cause excess bleeding or heavy bleeding coming from your vagina. The next one is cervical cancer. So you can see the cancer of the cervix can cause heavy menstrual period because it's basically the cells overgrowing and spreading to different areas. So this can cause you to have heavy menstrual bleeding. And the last one for today is endometrial cancer. So this is basically cancer of the endometrium. So this layer of the uterus is the endometrium, and when you have cancer of that, it can spread and it can cause heavy menstrual bleeding. So these are 8 ways you can, or 8 causes why you can have a heavy menstrual bleeding. And if you experience any of these symptoms, you need to get it checked out with your doctor, and they can advise you what to do. So that's all for today on causes of heavy menstrual bleeding. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.